This episode is sponsored by the Cornell S.E. Johnson College of Business. The Cornell Executive MBA Americas program is designed for goal achievers from any industry. The program works by advancing your career without interruption, by providing global perspectives and intimate classroom settings, and by challenging, informing, connecting, and propelling you. Achieve your goals with the Cornell Executive MBA Americas program on the weekend and close to home. Search Cornell EMBA Americas in my city today.
Welcome to the Ellevate podcast, conversations with women changing the face of business. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Ellevate podcast, History Makers. I am so excited. I just finished up our interview with Elle Seline. She is our guest today. She's incredible. I know I say everybody's incredible, but she's incredible. I mean, we only invite incredible people to be on here. But she was the first Miss Great Britain contestant to go makeup free during the pageant, which is just amazing. We talk about, we talk about her entire life, basically. We talk about her traumas. We talk about mental health. We talk about the importance of consent. We talk about representation for people. It's so good. She's so good. And I got to say, one of the easiest interviews I ever had, because her answers were so good. There's even a moment where I say, and this is the honest truth, that I was just so in agreement with her and so busy going, yes, that I completely forgot my next question. And I had to jump to another one. I eventually picked it back up. But yeah, so that's how good of an interview she is. You're going to love it. Let's go ahead and get to it now. It is so great to have you, Elle, here with me today. And we're kind of getting the Miss Great Britain family, because we also got Emma J. Weber, the first, lesbian Miss Great Britain finalist. So I love that it's kind of like an expansion.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. So she did Miss Great Britain the year after me. But because she was in the news and in loads of outlets, I reached out to her and I was like, more power to you, because I think it's amazing that all these different women are choosing such a big platform to raise awareness for such important things in the world. I just think it's awesome that we're changing the way that pageants are being seen as well. You know, I know that there's a lot of in the UK especially, there's a lot of I guess maybe misconceptions about what pageants are like, and I can appreciate, maybe back in the day they were a little bit different to now, but I would never have gone into this sector if I thought it was gonna be sexist or derogatory. I mean, the judges are all women, and they've got young kids, so you can see that it's come out of the dark ages. The actual girls that are competing are definitely bringing it out of the dark ages. So yeah, I'm really happy that we're involved in this podcast, and there's been other people as well. I think it's awesome that there's, like I said, women making a difference in those places that maybe people didn't expect them to make the difference.
Yes, exactly. So that was kind of my first thought. I was like, wow, Miss Great Britain is really making a lot of history today, or in the past few years.
Absolutely. Which is it's needed, definitely.
100%. And so let's talk about you. I know this is the big question that we usually like to start with, but how did you get to where you are today, through the pageant world, through, growing up, everything?
Sure. So where do I start? Okay, once upon a time. No, I'm joking. So basically, when I've always felt like I was different. So I was raised in on the Greek island of Skiathos, but originally I was adopted from Romania. So I was actually an orphan starting out, and I came to Greece when I was 1. I had quite an idyllic childhood. I was raised really well, and my family were always very supportive of me, but I always felt different. I always felt like something was missing and that I didn't really fit into society in a way. I always felt a little bit different. And my mum always knew that I was a bit quirky, a little bit different. And growing up, again, was a little bit, was harder for me, I guess. I was more out there, I guess, and maybe more it's called neurodivergent. We know this now, but at the time there was not a name for it. So coming through to my early child, so 10, 11, I came to the UK to have an education in the UK at an international school. And that's kind of where it all went a bit south for me. So I was not accepted in the UK school to start off with. I being a little bit darker, I was ridiculed for my skin tone and also having, believe it or not, more hair on my body. And yeah, it kind of just made me feel even more inferior. So when you're a young person and you don't fit in, and then you're being told that you don't fit in, it's almost even worse. So my younger years weren't great. I had a lot of trauma. I was unfortunately subject to quite a bit of sexual assault even before I came to England and when I was in the UK without my family there, sadly. And it made me feel unworthy and I guess scared of the world. I'm still in trauma therapy now for a lot of the things that happened to me, but yeah, I didn't have a very good start. And when I was a little bit older than 10, 11, maybe about 15, 16, I turned to alcohol and drugs to self-medicate my issues and I guess blank out the reality that I was living and the trauma that I was going through and the fact that the teachers in the school weren't helping me. I was just branded the problem child, oh, she's an issue, don't take much notice of her. And if I did speak out, I was attention seeking, and if I didn't speak out, I was attention seeking. So it was a hard time. And coming to Guildford, where I am now in Surrey, I came here when I was 18 after my studies. Sadly, I was asked to actually leave the school when I was 18 because I guess it was easier to get rid of the problem than actually discuss what was going on with the perpetrators at hand. So sadly, I was asked to leave the school when I was 18 and I came to the Academy of Contemporary Music in Guildford to study music. And I guess music and singing and songwriting has always been something for me that's really helped me through my issues, and animals as well have always been there for me and always been my safe space. And music has always been something that I felt like I had an escape through it. I felt like I actually was belonging somewhere. So even throughout my childhood, my adolescence, and throughout school, I would just sit and write songs and I guess escape into this reality that I felt like I was good enough to belong and to be and to just exist. And yeah, I guess the words that when I came to college, when I came to Guildford, the words that the bullies had said to me when I was in school, they still resonated with me and they still were there with me. And it was difficult to navigate that as well, because again, my family were out in Greece and I do have a brother and he was also in the UK, but when you're siblings and you move to a different country, you're not cool enough to hang out like with each other. So he was there for me, but of course he had his own things going on. He had his own friends. And again, I didn't want to burden him with any issues. So I kind of kept it inside. And as I said, self-medicated, moved to Guildford to study music. And I did find my tribe. I did find the people that I felt I belonged with, but I was still navigating an addiction and sadly an eating disorder as well. And I believe it was through the trauma and through all the issues that I'd had as a young person in school, being assaulted, being bullied, and I guess being felt that I wasn't good enough. So yeah, I hate when people say, oh, what happened to you? Like it's made you who you are. I hate that because I would rather not be the person having to navigate all these traumas now. But yeah, I guess I've taken a negative and turned it into a positive because it's in my control now to do that. The more I speak about my story, the more I open up, the more I am winning and the more I'm helping someone else feel less alone. And I guess what's got me to this point now with Miss Great Britain and all the things that I'm doing now is perseverance and resilience and just the will to live and the will to survive. I've not always been this open about my mental health or this open about who I am. Back in 2019, I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. And I guess for me, that was the answer to why I felt different and why I felt, I guess, out of this world and I didn't fit in. And to be honest with you, once I'd got the diagnosis, I felt more human and I felt less alone because, as corny as it sounds, there were other people that got it. Not just said to me, oh, I understand what you're going through, but actually could think like me and could think in the way that I think. And for me, that was so powerful. And it was such a good way to move forward and educate myself and educate my friends and family around borderline personality disorder and how to navigate and help me. And through lockdown, I was still going through a lot of difficulties and calling myself out on a lot of things. And I guess makeup for me was something I always hid behind. Even in school, I would wear a few shades lighter than what I was to try and hide the fact that I felt different and looked different. I mean, I wasn't that much darker, but in schools when you're that young and that in that generation back then, it was like no one asked about culture, no one asked about different heritage. It was just, oh, you're different, so we're going to pick on you. We don't understand you, so we're going to we're going to project our insecurity on and not understanding something. And sadly, it is still going on in the world now, but at least there's platforms like yours, there's different platforms around that are trying to change that and change the status quo. So yeah, I'm really, again, like I said, really grateful to be on this podcast and open up to you and discuss my story, because I just think it's important to be open. Moving forward to Miss Great Britain, I decided that I wanted to compete in 2019. And I guess I had fun and I enjoyed it, but I didn't give them I didn't give them me. Like, I wasn't authentically myself. Believe it or not, I probably wouldn't have been this open back then, even now, even at that point, about what I've gone through, because I guess I was still coming to terms with it, and also probably still in a bit of denial about it all. Like, I only in the last few years have I gone, actually, you know what? This has happened to me. I am safe now. I am in 2023. I'm not in school anymore. I'm not a teenager anymore. I am a woman and I'm safe. And the things that I used to survive back then, I don't need those tools anymore, because I'm not in danger. And that's why I'm able to be so open with you today and actually be myself and authentically myself. And as I said, when I did Miss Great Britain the first time, I wasn't authentically myself. I didn't feel like I had accomplished what I wanted to in my interview or with my walk or with anything I'd done. And I decided to go back in 2021. And through lockdown, I guess, when I'd first competed, I found a lot of things about myself which I hadn't found before. Like, I just opened up to myself. And because lockdown, as you can imagine, as a lot of people, it was a very difficult time. But for me, it was actually a time that I needed to really find myself and really ask myself questions and really call myself out, because I've been toxic before in my own way, and I've done things that I'm not always proud of. And you know what? To take ownership of that for me was a really big thing. And yeah, I managed to do that during lockdown. I managed to really understand myself with that diagnosis, of course, to hand, and with the support of my friends and family. I guess I called myself out on a lot of things, and I wanted to go back to Miss Great Britain and do something different and do it for me. And through lockdown, as you can imagine, we weren't pressured anymore to show up and glow up. Like, every single person, including celebrities, we were all at home. Everyone was on Instagram Live. A lot of people were wearing masks, or everyone. But, and it was just a time where I guess nature took charge of everything, and we were just existing. And it reminded me for sure that life isn't promised to us, and where life goes, we don't know. And yeah, it was a big eye-opener for me, really, to remember that and to know that we are actually all equal. Because I think in society, we do put celebrities and we do put people who are famous on a pedestal, and we do look at them like they're God and like they're amazing and like everything they've got is amazing. And actually, lockdown, as a musician especially, showed me, actually, Beyonce right now is at home like I am. She's not at Wembley selling out arenas. She's at home, and for me, that was a big reality check. And I'm sure for a lot of people it was. And yeah, I wanted to go back into Miss Great Britain to compete as me, as Elle, as authentically as I could. And with lockdown, makeup for me, I didn't wear it as much. I didn't hide behind it as much. I didn't need it as much, because I was not seen by the general public with my mask on or whatever. And as ironic as it sounds, as cliche as it sounds, the mask that I was wearing in lockdown helped me take the mask off in my life and helped me take that makeup off that was my mask. I'm not anti-makeup. I just want to stress that makeup to me is an artistry, and it is a very creative thing, and people express themselves through that. But for me personally, I wasn't using makeup to express myself. I was using it to hide behind something and to be validated by people. I relied on that validation from other people that, in honesty, it didn't serve me any purpose. And when I did Miss Great Britain the next time round, with or without makeup, I was myself, and I was showing people that you have a choice to do what you want with your body. You have a choice to do what you want with you. And because when I was younger, those choices were taken from me through the assault and through the trauma that I'd endured, it was also telling myself that actually I have a choice now to do what I want with my body. I can wear what I want. I can wear no makeup. I can wear makeup. I can do what I want with my body, and no one owns that apart from me. That's mine. And a lot of women and the other contestants and people of the general public, they got it because they saw what it was about. It wasn't about winning the title or the pageant. It was so much bigger than that, because there also are so many dangers on social media, especially with young people, and especially with how people are perceived. And the reality is warped because everyone is being told by society and the media to be someone else. We're never told, you know what, you're good enough as you are, and you are authentic as you are. And as again, as cheesy as it does sound, that is one of the secrets I feel of life, that we are all unique. I believe that everyone is beautiful, especially women. We are all beautiful in our own way, and we've got our own qualities, but it's not given. We're not given that in media and in society. We're told, be like her, wear this filter, wear this, oh, you're getting old. Oh, that's just a natural fact of life. However, here's some cream to make you look better. It's all about competing and being better and being another version of someone who you're not, or another and in a way it's like what I was doing in school. I was trying so hard to fit in that I took that with me in my adult years. I took trying to fit in and trying to be somebody else into my adult years and into Miss Great Britain when I first did it, into my music as well. I've done quite a few cool things with my music, and I always hid behind makeup when I performed, and I always was worried that I wasn't good enough as a musician or good enough as a human because of what other people would think. And on the back of what I did with Miss Great Britain, I'm still having these conversations 2 years later with like-minded people like yourself. And it's awesome because that's what I wanted to do it for. I wasn't there to win something or to prove something to anyone. I was there to have those conversations openly and unapologetically and help myself heal, but also help other people heal and be that person that I needed when I was a kid. Because if someone like me came into my school, which I do go into schools, I go into colleges, and I talk to people about consent, assault, what to do in that situation, and also body image and how I've overcome my issues. And someone had come into my school and told me all of the things that I'm telling these kids now, it would have helped me a lot, because I would have felt less alone and I would have felt less isolated and a freak. You know what I mean? So yeah, I guess that in a nutshell is me. And I like to talk a lot, but that in a nutshell is how I got to where I am now.
Talking a lot is not a problem here, trust me. I have to admit to you, first of all, there's so much I can pull from that. But I want to address first, it is a very good thing that I had my mic muted, because I was tearing up at one point.
Oh, sorry.
And it might not be the point at which you expected. It was when you were talking about being diagnosed with BPD, because I can tell you, my listeners know this. I at 13 was diagnosed as being on the autism spectrum. Yeah. And I had the exact same, feeling more human experience of just oh, there's a word for this. There's other people that think like me. I'm not alone.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it.
And yeah. And so I want to say, I know that you do a lot with mental health. And so I want to say thank you so much, because it truly matters.
Thank you. You too, with everything that you're doing. I think what you're doing is awesome as well, because you're using your platform for something good, and you're using your authentic, you're just doing what I do basically, which is awesome. It's nice to, like I said, to meet like-minded people who get it. And I think these conversations that we're having are so important, because you don't know who's listening to this, and you don't know who you're helping. And that for me is the biggest win. That for me was the reason I went and did what I did, because there was that one person. I don't care how many people, but even if there's that one person, do you know what I mean? For me, that's what matters the most, is that someone out there is going to feel less crap, like I did when I was in school on my own, because someone like me was around to tell them it was okay to be themselves. That to me is the most important thing, and the reason I'm doing everything I'm doing.
Yeah. Yes. And I just, yes. I have to say, I love your take on makeup, where you say that makeup is an artistry, but it wasn't for you. It was for you. It was hiding. And I think that's so beautiful, because I'm a person, I don't really wear makeup ever, but I appreciate it. Exactly. I can watch, a YouTube tutorial of a drag queen explaining, this is why I do this, whatever. And I think it's gorgeous. Mm-hmm. But I love that, you're saying your personal relationship with makeup was not healthy. And that's what you, eventually decided. Was there any pushback when you said you were gonna do the competition without makeup?
I mean, with everything, you know what the world is like. We live in a world where a lot of people don't understand things, and a lot of people might, I don't know, again, a bit like the bullies in school, when someone doesn't understand something, they will ridicule it. I did have a few people going, but you're in a pageant, you're there to be judged on your looks, so why are you doing this? And my response was always the same. It was, what I'm doing is bigger than the competition. What I'm doing is symbolic to choice and bodily choice, especially for women, because there's so much going on in the world around women's choices being taken from them, that this makeup was almost a symbol of that choice. And I utilized the platform, which was a national platform to tell my story and to share my story and my opinion and what I was doing. So yeah, there was a few people, I got a few trolls or whatever you want to call them being a bit nasty maybe, but and it did affect me, I'm not going to lie to you, but I always remembered that I'm not doing it for those people. I'm doing it for those kids and those people that do get it. And I guess that was what drove me to continue, because there was times where I felt like, what am I doing? I am very outspoken, I am very outgoing, but I'm also quite shy and I'm also quite scared of the world, because that's who I am. I'm probably like yourself. I like to mask a lot. I'm very used to masking my emotions and masking my issues, because that's how I was brought up what to do. So a lot of people, when they saw me on TV and saw me doing interviews, they saw this really confident, outgoing person, but actually deep down inside, there's still this shy child in there. The inner child is still in there. So of course I'm human. Of course I got affected by some of the things that people said, but at the same time, I did remember that I'm not doing it for them. I'm doing it for those people that need the message and need that support, and for myself. And that was, for me, the most important thing was actually my healing, and my healing through helping other people. I'm telling people the things I needed to hear, and through that, I'm healing my own demons through that whole process.
Yes. And I love that you say, you bring up, healing is an ongoing process. It is not a one and done. Oh, I went to therapy one time, they put a Band-Aid on and I'm good. It is, I wish, but it is an ongoing process of being who you are in every moment. And I had another question, but I've just I keep agreeing with you. This happened to me once before in this, where I was just like, I agree so much that I forgot my question.
Thank you. No worries.
Yeah. So I guess I'll go into one of my other questions that I had, which was, I know I learned this from Emma J. Weber, not all British pageants have talents, but when you do a talent portion, what talent do you use?
So I would always use music. I'm a songwriter as well, so I write my own songs, and a lot of the songs I write are about mental health and about my own journey, so I like to incorporate that into my craft. So if I was to do a talent round or a talent part of the show, I would always make sure that it was something authentic to me, which is my music and my songs.
Yes. And I remember what I was going to say now, because you brought up authenticity. I was going to say, the thing about pageants is you're judged on your looks, but I feel like that should be what everyone's authentic beauty. If your version of beauty includes makeup, great. If it doesn't, great. It's I feel like we're all just picking at different things. You shouldn't require makeup.
No, and beauty is subjective as well. So what someone might think is beautiful, someone else might not, and what someone else might, it's just so subjective. And a lot of the pageants are looking for an ambassador for their platform, and they're looking for that person that can drive that platform. So you're not, of course, with these things, I'm not going to lie to you. Of course, looks are going to come into it, and, confidence and all of that is going to come into it. But I think what they're also looking for is someone who's a good spokesperson, someone who's got a good platform and they're promoting it, someone that can promote them as a company. I think there's a lot of things that go into it. And it's a bit like a job interview. You might have amazing candidates for the job, but you do have to choose that one person that to you stands out as a candidate that will fit in all the different things that you have, all the different qualities that you have for that job. So I've always said that to people when they go into pageants, look at it as a job interview. You might not get the job, but look at it as an experience and look at it as something that you can take from it, because at the end of the day, unfortunately, there can only be one winner, but you can take so much from that. With me, I've ran with it. I'm doing so many interviews and I'm still using the platform. I'm not competing in any pageants. I've not competed in 2 years, but the stance and the platform that I had, I'm still running with it, and that for me is what like I said, what I wanted to do with it. Winning or not winning for me wasn't the issue. It was going out and doing something that mattered to me. And if you do pageants for the right reasons, and if you do them for the right things, winning or not winning doesn't matter at the end of the day, because you're still getting that exposure and you're still using your voice, I guess, in the right way.
Absolutely, 100%. And you got a bit into it here, but I was going to ask, what advice would you have for a young person wanting to follow in your footsteps and, pursue pageants?
Don't follow my full footsteps. I wouldn't do that. No, I'm joking. So for me, I guess everyone has what I would say to them is everyone has their own journey. And if you're inspired by me, that's great. But know that your journey can be different to mine. It can be based on mine and it can be different to mine. That's okay. If you want to go into pageants, like I said, do it for the right reasons. That's what I will tell you now. Like, don't go in there thinking, I'm going to win, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to be better than everyone. Because sadly, a lot of people do change after the pageant. I personally, I'm not that sort of person, but a lot of people after the pageant did change and did show their true colours. And for me, that was a little bit triggering. I'm not going to lie to you. There is a different side to it because some people aren't doing it for the right reasons. So if you're going to go into it, know that regardless of the result, you are good enough. Regardless of the day, you are good enough. And just go with it. Enjoy it. My most feared round at the start was the swimsuit round. But actually, it was the most fun because it wasn't all about, body and all of that. It was literally just having fun. And for me, it was very empowering to walk on stage in a swimsuit. I've never done something like that before. And normally when I'm performing, when I'm doing my music, I'm singing on a stage. I'm not like going on turning around and twirling. And, it's a very different ball game. So, if you want to go into that, go for it. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy it because it is fun. And you will meet a lot of amazing people like Emma. She's a legend. She's awesome. Like, she's such a cool person. And there are lots of people like that in there. But if you don't win, that's okay as well. And if you do win, you know what? That's amazing. And winning or not winning, it's not about that. And I think that's what a lot of people don't realise, that a lot of people go into pageants to share their story. We've got, cancer patients, we've had, different people, we've had doctors, we've had nurses, we've had so many different walks of life who are all coming together to promote their story and share it to help someone else. And a lot of the time it is to be that voice that they needed when they were younger. It does come down to that. So, by all means, follow in my footsteps, enjoy the journey. For me, when I was younger, I was so interested in what other people were doing. I wasted a lot of time comparing myself to other people. And what I will say to that is if I could go back, I probably wouldn't do that as much because it did waste a lot of time. One of my biggest regrets is, I guess, comparing myself to someone else or comparing myself to other musicians, comparing myself to other women. Don't do that because, you're never going to be satisfied if you do that. Trust me. It's taken me a long time and a lot of therapy and a lot of willpower. And I still sometimes do it. I'm a human, but my biggest regret is that. So if you're young and listening to this, please don't do that part of what I've done because it's not ideal. It doesn't get you anywhere. But enjoy. And there's different systems as well with pageants. So like Miss Great Britain is a good one because it is quite an established system, but there's so many different systems within pageantry that you can join. So if you're not interested in a national one, you can always do a semi-national one. There's so many different options and there's so many different systems that you can choose from. And all of them are, like I said, they are great fun. And that's what it is. It is fun. It is a bit of fun. It comes down to that. And just roll with it and have fun with it because it is great fun. And you'll meet people and you don't know where that journey will take you either. So like you could have contacts at the end of that you didn't have before in a different industry. And then the modelling, I know girls who have done pageants who have then been scouted by, London Fashion Week and stuff, and they've been taken there and done awesome stuff after that. So even if you don't win the pageant, you don't know who's watching,
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah.
I cannot believe we've already gotten to our last question, but like we are down to the final question, which is the one that I ask all of our history makers at the end of every show, because the thing about history is that we are all standing on the shoulders of others who've made history before us. So I always ask, what history maker inspired you?
That is such a good question. You know what? There's quite a few. So for me, you put me on the spot and I never get put on the spot and I like it because you're challenging me and I like that. I feel that the suffragettes for me are a whole team of women who really have paved the way for women. For me, if I had to say who it was that inspired me to become someone in history, the suffragettes, Rosa Parks as well, just women who are powerful, man. Like just women who just said, you know what, I'm done with this status quo and I'm going to do something different and I'm going to stand up and say no, because they paved the way for us to say, I'm going to do the same in my own way. I'm not comparing what I've done to them because what they did was amazing, but even that little ripple in the sea can make a big difference. Do you know what I mean? So for me it would be them, the suffragettes and Rosa Parks, because they're just badass. Like they just went, you know what, screw this, mic drop, I'm going to do me. So that's exactly what I've done, is just do what I wanted to do and not think about anything else. And it's brave, what they did was brave, because it could have gone especially back in that day, it could have gone horribly wrong. And they went, no, we're going to do this, we're going to stand up for this, we're going to stand up for our culture, our women, all the women after us, and yeah, I just think it's awesome, and it's so inspiring, because without them, where would we be now? Do you know what I mean? And that's the question, what would we be owned by men still, or would we be not able to sit in a certain place in the bus or whatever? Do you know what I mean? It's interesting to think what would happen without these amazing women that have gone, screw this, I'm doing this. And I just think it's awesome. And I just, long may that continue. Long may more women come through, and more people, anyone, come through and say, you know what, let's change the course and let's change the narrative, because yeah, it can make amazing things happen. So yeah, that would be my answer. And you put me on the spot, which 100%. I like.
Yeah, I love that you like that.
Challenge me.
100%. Yeah, agreed. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been amazing. I had so much fun.
You too. Thank you.
Yeah, and if you want to let people know, do you want to let people know where they can follow you? Anywhere? Are you anywhere on social media?
So I'm mainly on Facebook and the old Instagram, and I'm Elle Seline Official on Instagram and on Facebook as well. So yeah, if you enjoyed what you heard today, if you want to follow my journey or even reach out to me and share your own journey with me, I'm more than happy for you to do that. And thank you again so much for having me on this show. I've really had a good, I can't see you, but we're very like-minded, and I think we're on the same page, and I like that. And yeah, thank you again for having me on today. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Ellevate Network drives real results for ambitious women trying to break through the glass ceiling and achieve success in their careers. We offer a platform full of resources and opportunities for growth, all designed to help you unlock your potential. With Ellevate's support, you can take the first step toward achieving your professional goals. With a supportive community and tangible resources at your fingertips, you're only one step away from reaching your fullest potential. Join us today and take advantage of our 30-day free trial to start building the career of your dreams. Thanks so much for listening to the Ellevate podcast. If you like what you hear, you can subscribe, give us 5 stars, and share your review. You can learn all about Ellevate membership and all the great things that Ellevate Network is doing at our website, www.ellevatenetwork.com. That's ELLEVATE network.com. And special thanks to our producer, Catherine Heller. She rocks. Thanks so much, and join us next week.